Good evening. We are back again for of potential Greymaster. Feels like ages since I've been back on the comic. Very weird. Very, very weird. As I add people shadows at the very least. Faces. Hey, how you doing? Cookie? With the is that a golden kappa? Very cool. Very poggers. Ugh. Can't stand myself saying that. Right, here we are. Don't know why I just felt the compulsion. Got a little bit to finish on this page and then we oh not page, panel. Steady progress. The last time I was here. While. I'd argue too. Yeah, there is now a random chance trains give one out. It's only good for 24 hours though. Oh yeah, well then you better get your money's worth, right? Or your time's worth. That color. But, oh no. Following Callie's footsteps, I have seen the Spider-Verse movie, and then I have also bought Is the Kingdom. And so now I'm in that like it's maybe the worst time I could have bought Tears of the Kingdom right before Beanstalk Week. But hey, I have it. Oh, that's yeah, very much the wrong thing. I just erase stuff on the color layer. See, it feels like it's been ages. It's a fair assessment. Yeah, following it. Just becoming Callie slowly but surely. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I'll have time to play it, so I'm not worried. But like, working and then I'll be like, oh, I would really like to play Tears of the Kingdom. Oh well. And we gotta brainstorm a few stickers for during Beanstalk Week. And I was thinking maybe one of them would be a Tears of the Kingdom or um a Korok one, but mixed with Greymouse. I don't want to. I've seen that like a lot of people have resorted to really like torturing those backpack Koroks. I feel like I'm too sentimental to do that. So what I'm thinking, actually, I'm gonna do what I do every single stream is just move the mic first off. But I'm thinking I might make a sticker which is just me treating um, a backpack Korok with just absolute care and absolute love, kissing it on its little forehead. I think that works. Yes, the involuntary Kerbal recruits. Yeah, I know. I've seen some really dark shit. People and like the ones where people just crucify them and then set them on fire. It's like that's just fucked. People once they got the power of that the ultra hand, just became psychopaths. But it's so cool. It's such a fun looking game. It's such a fun game to play. Uh, I didn't have a whole lot of time to play it, but like I really enjoyed playing it. Like the little amount of time I had, still felt very worthwhile. Still a little bit with jazz. It's loud. But, let me know if you guys want more jazz. So more jazz, less mouse. It's weird. I usually have music like pumping into my headphones while I'm working and stuff, but when it's stream, like when I'm streaming, I usually just turn it all the way down. Despite my voice being the only thing I can hear, I can't hear you guys talk. I'm actually like necessarily sure why I turn it down, but I do. Like his nose is just a little bit. It's gonna make the tiniest little alteration. This could really blow up in my face, but we'll see how it goes. You learned that the youth were crazy when your brother's kid came over. They were playing Minecraft, couldn't find each other, so 10-year old's idea was to set the village on fire. That made you scared. That's pretty grim. You know what? I'm not even gonna lie. Pretty fucking grim, actually. Kids, man. Scary. That's better. Yeah. Incremental, but it's better. Then your 13-year-old cousin started playing Fallout New Vegas, and his first response was to try and murder everyone at the starting location. Oh shit! Went with in Good Springs. Oh god, those people. Those are like good people. Those are just good-natured cowboys. They're just good-natured cowboys. Oh my god, your cousin's lunatic. With all due respect, of course. Psychopath. Psychopath. Absolute psychopath. Kids are scary. I think they've always been scary, of course, but ugh. As an adult now, I'm more aware of how kids are like just little lunatics, little crackheads. And here you are restarting checkpoints. If you lose one of the Marines in Halo, I think humanity may be doomed. Yeah, I maybe. I guess it also depends on like what the environments we were set up in because like we didn't like we didn't take evil decisions because it made us feel guilty, even though it's a game. But I guess kids these days are like more okay with it because it's like, well, they're now fully aware that it's a game. Like almost evolutionarily aware. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. As if I don't have a degree in studying minds and knowing brains and stuff. You could tell by the way I say it wasn't a very good degree for me. If that's the go-to, really. But yeah, I was so delicate with that Korok on in the Time Garden or the Garden of Time. I was so delicate with him. I was like, I don't want him to be hurt. Take the utmost care of him. But then like on TikTok and Instagram, it's just like, oh yeah, I set this Korok on fire because why not? It was funny. He was all like, "Bah!" Everybody's so jaded. Everybody's so jaded to the cries of the Korok from Breath of the Wild, so just don't care. So I realize there's no shadows on this uh, cloak. But so cute. Like I can't hurt anything that cute or anything at all, really. Too much of a soft heart. And that I know. I know that for certain. I've just got a very soft, like, sentimental heart. So I know that I can't just willingly or, like, with knowledge cause harm to a creature, even if it's just a creature in a game. Like, sure, I'll hunt in a game if that's the name of the game, and that's what you do in the game. Oh, Zid! Hello! Welcome! We were just talking about, not causing harm to Koroks. I just got, Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you so much, Donkey Tail, for following. I really appreciate it. Very kind of you. How you doing? What were you streaming? Loki just jumped across here as well. I beat Loki to the shout out. What were you doing? Playing Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Ooh, how is that? I've been meaning to play it, I just haven't. Because I never make time for games. Butt Stallion, I do know Butt Stallion. Butt Stallion is great. Yeah, how is it? Good game? Would you recommend it? It's okay, but you think they people I was playing with were both too tired. Ah, that's fair. That is the thing about Borderlands. It's like a big part of the enjoyment of the game is the people you're playing with, and if people's hearts aren't in it, then not as fun as it could be. You can find a couple of idiots to laugh with. Yeah, exactly. That's what I like about Deep Rock Galactic. I play that with my brother, and that's a lot of fun because we're both just faffing about being idiots, and it's always good. Yeah, I think you need to find a couple of other idiots next time. That's fair. That's fair. If I ever get it, I'll let you know. Because there's one thing I can guarantee: I am an absolute idiot when it comes to games. Sentimental, as I was saying previously, but an idiot. I won't hurt Koroks, but I will allow myself to fall into terrible harm because I wasn't paying attention. That's very much my nature. And if it's a horror game, which I know Tiny Tina's isn't, but it's been very well established in my chat that if it's a horror game, I would do anything to save myself and protect myself over everyone else. So that never play a horror game with me. No art to share? Nothing? I have altered the everyone can pop links in the chat if they want to share art. Never made art. What are you on about? Oh, right, it's one of those. Share art of your complicated love life, Sid. That feels targeted. And since this is my stream, we won't be having none of that. We only pick on the streamer. Sid ain't streaming currently. That breaks my heart. Oh, it's life, you know. Just how life is. Sucks. It's an absolute bastard. But yeah. Yeah, she was playing with her husband's husband today. And you don't know. Have you seen that the crab pic? Crab pic. I may have seen if it's the one I'm thinking of, I may have seen it partially, but I'd always be keen to see the finished version. The taxes one. Taxes one. Now I'm not sure. And yeah, a link should work. Just posting a link. Hey, it does. Excellent. Oh, that's cool. Switch across. Show the art. I'm sure most of your community has, but crab mining. That's what it's called. Nice. Lots of complicated. What is too complicated for the mass? Yeah, I just cancelled him. I cancelled the bot. Got rid of him. I was like, you're fired, bot. There we go. That's super cool. I really like how you do. Well, like your use of color is really cool, and the fact that it all really integrates very well, like together. Shadows are awesome as well. I love the highlights. It's really cool to see this finished as well. I remember jumping in when you were doing just filling in the colors, so I was really keen to see the finished version. It's super cool. Big fan of your work. As we go back to my slightly more cartoonish style. Of course, never saying that as a negative thing, but yeah, I really like your style. It's really cool. It's really unique. It's really like you as well. I think artist styles really tell a lot about the person. That's really cool to see your style like come through in your work. Sad the jackhammer no longer has booba, but what can you do? Hey, not everything can have booba all the time. Jackhammer Chan will come back in the future. Keen to see that then. Jackhammer Chan. That's a good name. The style is saturated colors and glitter, which is pretty cool. So it's like gay man at Pride. Accurate. Vivid mental image, of course, but accurate, and I would expect no less from an artist. A creative mental image. Jackhammer Chan. Hashtag Jackhammer Chan. I like it. Or is it drag queen better? Either work, I think. I think it ultimately does depend on on the type of pride, I think. Because there's also I almost said there's also the pastel gays, and it's like, well, um, can't really recover from that myself, from that statement. But you know what I mean. I think a drag queen is always like what we aspire to, stylistically. I do personally. Always, I'm aiming for drag queen style with my art. The goal. Why not a combination? A gay drag queen, man? Can't choose, just combine. Very smart. Playing 4D chess, mate. Very good. Always my go-to compliment. If I ever hear someone say, "Oh, your art reminds me of a drag queen at a Pride Festival," I'd be like, "Thank you. Exactly what I wanted to hear." Oh, I heard y'all legalized psychedelics for PTSD and depression. Fun times. Yeah. Super cool. As someone who has knowledge of the uh, therapeutic, not like personal knowledge, but like theoretical knowledge of the therapeutic effects of psilocybin, which is a chemical commonly found in hallucinogenic mushrooms. I'm very keen to see uh, further research in that kind of therapy. Oh, did we? Or is it just the eastern states? Yeah, just yesterday. Yeah. I saw it was on the burner for a little while. The whole country. We talking New Zealand or Australia? Because if it's New Zealand, I just hope Australia catches on. But since New Zealand did it, if New Zealand did it first, Australia won't do it at all. Australia. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Because I've seen it around. And damn right. No, New Zealand did gay marriage first, which is fair enough. About right. I say what I say, tongue in cheek, because I do actually love New Zealand. I think New Zealand's great. But I do also like to make fun of New Zealand because I am Australian. So it is the Australian way to mock New Zealand, despite New Zealand really being kind of more successful. Sorry, half listening because your monitor is doing weird thingy and trying to fix. All good. All good. No issues. Just being genuine and honest about how much I appreciate New Zealand. But you can ignore that. Yeah, but New Zealanders are more aggressive. That's true. That is true. In every walk of life, they're even more aggressive just being like nice to you. Used to get told off for how aggressive I was towards Aussies. Yeah, it's always going to be the issue. It's like, just cultural differences. But it was always good fun. Oh, always in good fun. Yeah. I think Australians can handle that slightly better than other countries. I think the British are like either or, I think, one way or the other sometimes. Either deeply offended or like okay with the banter. Can't imagine you being aggressive. That's fair. Like a dog, all bark, no bite. Also fair. That's how New Zealanders are to the Aussies. Yeah. Australians are easygoing, but the the ones who aren't easygoing you really need to avoid. Just straight up. Just if they're aggressive, if you meet an aggressive Australian, then they're probably dangerous. Right. I got one last thing to do on this panel, then we move on to the new one. Light. Your usual kind of light. Just a pretty eye reflection, basically. Like hexagons. I do, actually, that is true. I just like hexagons. So I like to have light reflection and bokeh be hexagons because also for a very long time I was a photographer and having a hexagonal light streak was always super cool to me. Yeah, aggressive Aussies are a bit much. They are, they really are. And when you meet an aggressive Aussie, you're either like, are they just overly enthusiastic or are they a crackhead? And it's very hard to gauge, I think. Once had a dude yell at you and a bunch of kids to shut up. Huh. That feels super untoward. That's not cool. Some people are just jerks though, as well, admittedly. Like there will always be people who are just like assholes. I think my first week or 2 weeks in Adelaide, which is now the city I live in, um, first 2 weeks, this dude basically like I was walking past a dude and he just like shoved me into someone else for absolutely no reason. Maybe I was like a little too close to him on the pathway, but like he just shoved into me and like for absolutely no reason, and people are just gonna be dickheads usually. No stopping them. It is disappointing, but yeah. For fuck's sake, turning the screen on and off again fixed it. It will do that. Ain't that always the way? Like, you could do everything in your power to make something work, and then it's just like the simplest thing. I was fighting my printer yesterday for like an hour or two, and because it didn't receive, it was just like there's no paper in the paper tray, and I'm like, I could see it. There's paper in the paper tray, and it got to the point where I was just shouting at my printer, and eventually I was like, oh wait, it's got another paper tray space. And then I realized that because of the size of the paper, like the sticker paper I was using, it couldn't like actually properly fit in the paper tray I was previously using. So moving it to a different paper tray just solved the problem like instantly. And I was like, oh god, I feel stupid. Oh yeah, I know that. I was walking home one day and a dude told me to move it fuckwit. The age old fix everything to technique. Yeah, just turn it off, turn it on again. People think you're dumb. You're a dumb, like fully missing a few brain cells in a oh she's so precious way. So it's really rare to get aggressive with me. Yeah, that's fair. I can imagine like that. Oh, Zombie Slayer. Hello. I will hydrate. I've got some instant coffee here. I like my mess. Welcome. How you doing? What's up, Mouse? Not much. We're just talking about aggressive encounters with jerks and stuff. You were known for handling the hard to manage customers at a couple jobs because of it. Hey, well, that's good. you become notorious for being um, for quelling jerks. False. Yeah. I'm so avoidant of I try to be really avoidant of antagonistic people. Um, but I think a lot of people assume I just come off as soft in that sense, and to be fair, I kind of do. But usually that leads to people being slightly more like forgiving of me being like nervous and stuff, which I appreciate, of course. That dumb bitch who knows shit, but her head full of daisies. Sorry, language. You're free to use whatever language you like. I don't have issues with language. I personally try and avoid saying bitch, but that's only because for me it feels sharper because I am Australian. It's one of those weird things. There's like, I don't say, I almost said I don't say the B word. I've said it like twice now. I don't say bitch often because it feels a lot harsh, like harsher coming out of my mouth. Mate, you say the C word. Yeah, I know, I do. And I find this is the irony of me, is that I say the C word, and I've said it on stream plenty of times, but the B word I struggle with. If you met me in person, you'd understand why. I'm like the softest like human being on earth, but because of my heritage, um, I say the C word. And now I'm now like not flustered, but I'm in a state where I'm just like I can't say any swears. I can't bring myself to swear because I've just been talking about my aversion to the B word. And now it's like a slippery slope where I'm just like reducing my language. I'll say fuck all the time. I say fucking as like punctuation basically. But B word. No. Nah, dog. Nah, dude. Can't do it. Literally can't do it. So dumb. I should feel free to say whatever I like, but I'm just like, no, it might make someone feel bad. Really is that way too. Just talking about how I take extra care with the Koroks in Tears of the Kingdom because I don't want them to feel hurt. But then I'm like, um, the word is just in my DNA. It is. It is. And for a long time my dad tried really hard to stop me from saying it. Uh just because he has like slightly different heritage, and he's like, C word's a bad word. And then I became an adult, and I was just like, kind of dramatic, looking after friends at a funeral of their family, and just softly, cannot. Oh, sorry, bro. Yeah, I mean, I've sworn before at funerals. Can't stop me from swearing. Sometimes I swear really loudly if I think I'm alone. I do like the high pitched. If something goes really bad and I'm alone, I'll just go like, so I'll move the mic away, but I just go, fuck! And that's, if anyone ever caught me doing that, I'd be so embarrassed. You guys are fine, but that's because I'm performing for you. You took care of the Koroks. Oh my god, a slightly less insane Tears of the Kingdom player. I mean, yeah, I can't do it. I can't just be like, oh look, it's a golf ball, and like smack him down the mountain. I'm like, I must protect you. And I do. I was so gentle with that Korok in the first area. I couldn't do it. I couldn't allow myself to just kick him to where he needed to go. I was like, we'll get there. It doesn't matter how long it'll take. I got all the time in the world for you. Kissed him on his little forehead. Spat out some leaves. That didn't hurt him, of course. So, fine. Australian swears at a funeral, Irish is it really a good funeral if the cops are not called? Yeah, I mean, true. Yeah, grim, but that's just how it be. We don't understand, but that's because we aren't used to it. It's confronting because it's new. Mouse, if Fallout New Vegas 2 was to come out, what do you think should be done? Obviously, if a character was to say anything, then then it reveals the canon ending for New Vegas, but that also ruins all the fun speculation over who should rule New Vegas. Uh, oh, Fallout New Vegas 2. Sorry, my brain was like Fallout 2. Fallout 2 already exists. Fallout New Vegas 2. That's a good question, actually. That's a really good question because I am curious to think about that. I think ultimately, because New Vegas came out so long ago, I think it's just going to happen to, like, you're going to spoil the ending of one. But I think maybe it should be a situation where, like, the courier is now is like a subject of legend. So it's the Fallout 2. Yeah, I'm like Fallout 2 already came out, Zombie Slayer. What are you talking about? No, it should be like with Fallout 3 to New Vegas, they were set 200 years apart. But in Fallout New Vegas 2, we have like a situation where we got that independent Vegas. And then and then the courier takes over. Well, the courier takes over for the independent New Vegas, but he or she has passed away. And now there is this huge power vacuum. And we're kind of back to the same kind of situation as New Vegas, but it's a new dynamic where everything has changed because of these years of changes that have been made by either the Courier or the NCR or the Legion. And each of them still has had this effect on the New Vegas area, so all of them are still invested in coming back. Um, that's what I think. The SWAT team is just on standby at an Irish funeral. Yeah, they hear about the death of an Irish individual, and they're just like, "Suit up, guys. We got somewhere to be. We got a funeral to attend." If there's a New Vegas 2, oh wait, hold on. Or they could do something like Fallout 3 and 4, where characters know about each other, but it's still decently far away. It's a different setting and time. That would be cool, yeah. If there's a New Vegas 2, you would just want a better world, like more NPC traveling. That would be cool. Yeah. The U part of the Vegas fun is seeing NPCs throw hands. Yeah. If there was more of that, so like I've noticed that in more recent games, like a lot of the more recent open world games, they've opened up the scope to like faction fighting. And like I'm only saying this because I saw it in Tears of the Kingdom, but like your enemies will fight against each other. Uh, and you can kind of like watch and then attack the victors. The not victors as in like Victor from Fallout New Vegas, but the winners of the fights. And they're in like a weakened state, so it also almost becomes a like kind of like survival thing. Uh, yeah, but like more of that in New Vegas too would be super cool. It has to be the same area, so I'm just like it's Fallout New Vegas too. Yeah, I was gonna say that as well, but I was just like, yeah, good point. But that did kind of happen in New Vegas, right? Yeah, yeah. Trying to think about like the technicalities. What would we want with a New Vegas? Big open world. We want the fun and good humor of the first New Vegas, but also the like powerful, serious like over undertones and things like that as well. So how would we achieve that? um, really excited to see how Starfield goes. I am too, actually. I have no idea how it will go, but I hope it will be good. And also Fable. I've so keen for Fable as well. Yeah, I'm so keen for Fable, ready to play it whenever it comes out. If it's bad, then I'm just gonna be really sad for a very long time because I really enjoyed Fable 2, and Fable 3 I also really liked, even though I heard like plenty of criticisms and I don't disagree with the criticisms of the game or the story or anything like that, but I still really enjoyed it. I like the weapon system of Fable 3 because the weapons developed and grew as you did. And so there was a greater like emphasis on the way your character played. Faction fighting, I mean, yeah, but when you're walking around, I just think Legion, what Legion you scared off the boogeyman or something? Oh, and buff up the Legion for New Vegas too. Yeah, that'd also be cool. Um, no, but I also get what you're saying, Zid, as well. The whole like they did have faction fighting, and that was also like the best part of it. Where this isn't an example from Fallout New Vegas, but from Fallout 3, I was actually cornered by a group of Talon Company mercs, and the only reason I didn't die was because the Brotherhood outcasts were passing by, and they actually helped me and saved my life. And I was like, these guys are actually pretty cool. And then when the Anchorage DLC came out, I almost felt more invested in the story because the outcasts had helped me previously in the world. And that's one of the things I really love about that like dynamic world building and the dynamic factions and stuff of the Fallout series is that you actually become attached to these factions because they help you or attack you or whatever in your journey. It's awesome. Um, what Fable had the puzzle doors? That was both of them. There are three of them. I think they were in definitely in two. I remember them very specifically in two. They were also in three. I don't think they were quite as good in three, but two they were very good. If it is made for those, for the love of God, don't reveal so much of the courier, since of course part of the fun of the courier is we know so little and he's a mystery. Yeah, they were. That was a super cool part was that they were a mystery. Yeah. How I play Fable 3, but all the houses go AFK for a day profit. Yeah, exactly. You like buy all the houses, go AFK, make pies and stuff, and then um and then just leave, and then you get rich as hell. Don't even say the color of the courier's eyes or something minuscule. Don't reveal anything about the courier in Fallout New Vegas 2. When Fallout New Vegas 2 is made, yeah, make them like a living legend, but one that people actually don't know the details of. That would be awesome. And Power Armor 2, Fallout 4 Power Armor, please. That would be excellent. I actually thought I agree. I think the Power Armor in Fallout 4 was very good and a really nice upgrade to the system because it actually felt like it like the Power Armor had weight and movement, and you like later in the game you could basically sit in Power Armor for as long as you wanted because you had enough power cores. You had power cores to spare. But like early game, you were like, oh, I saved the power armor for like a super important fight that I know I'm gonna lose without this like upgrade or advantage. And it was tactical, and I really liked that about Fallout 4. And also the base building. I thought that was fun. But I also like that like dynamic, not dynamic. Keep saying dynamic. I really liked that creativity in the sandbox of Fallout 4. I may have not cared for the story, but I really liked the sandbox feature. I thought that was fun. Two was your favorite, then you remember one door is specific. It was you had to put on weight to open it. That one took you forever to figure out. Yeah, I really like that. Like those kinds of things. There was one where you had to get naked, one where you had to kiss someone you loved, things like that. It was a lot of fun. Um, Mouse, is it true that in Skyrim the Dragon Claw has the animal password on it because it's to prevent Draugrs and other dead from getting out? I assume so. I'll tell you what, I don't know for certain, but that wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, now that I had a taste of how powerful power armor is supposed to be, like how they're portrayed in Soda's animation in Fallout 4, can't go back. Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think it almost feels kind of disappointing jumping back into Fallout New Vegas and 3, and the power armor is just like, it's just a suit. And just like, well, okay. Yeah, I really liked the Fallout 4 power armor. And like getting into it for the first time and just feeling this huge change, like change in the winds, where you're just like, I am immensely strong now, but only for a limited time. And I thought that was awesome. Yeah, I thought that was so cool. Fallout 4 had some good aspects to it. It's just a shame that the story wasn't quite up to par. And also like a little depressing. Or like not the good kind of depressing. Not the good kind of depressing. That's a very bad thing to say in my chat. But I also do like I like Elden Ring because it has this really disastrous story that's like really full of despair and tragedy. I like tragic stories. Stories that have stuff that's like, oh, fate worse than death. That stuff is right up my alley. It's grim, but it's true. I do like that. A fate worse than death, you shall stub your toe for eternity. Ooh, that would suck. That wouldn't be nice. Everywhere you go, you just stub your toe on something, and you're not wearing shoes. That would suck. I have had this conversation. I haven't had a conversation similar to this before, where I asked someone if would you consider this like a fate worse than death, where you're perpetually tripping, not like tripping balls or anything like that, but like you stand up and begin to walk, and then from that moment on, you are almost going to fall over and trip over, but you can't as well. So you're constantly like you can't stop moving, otherwise you'll fall and die. Uh, but you're like perpetually tripping and moving forward, so you end up like circling the earth thousands of times, tripping, like tripping over, and you can't stop. And like it's that same like kind of parallel where it's like set to like cursed to walk for all eternity. But I think there's just like an aspect of terror to it where you're going to fall over, and there's this agonizing like fear of falling over. Again, like I said, I save Kor. I treat Koroks with the utmost respect, but I'm also really dark as a person because that's the kind of stuff I come up with. And yes, I am giving Dogen rabbit ears. So what? No, not so what. It's for a reason. A story-based reason that you'll find out in chapter 85, probably, if we ever get to that. Which we will, but not anytime soon. Yeah, stubbing your toe and paper cuts are like the two kinds of pains that are kind of unique. Like unique, deeply unpleasant pains. I think. If I was in a reality where if I touched anything, I would get a paper cut, I'd be like, well, I don't want to live in this world at all. This is horrible. Constant paper cuts, fuck that. Constant toe stubbing, fuck that. And I think like some of my not favorite stories, but stories that have this like exploration of mortality. I really like horror books and stuff like that, but like ones that explore mortality in a way where it's like, oh yeah, we know what death is. We are certain that this is worse than that. And you're just like, oh god, really? That stuff is daunting, deeply daunting. Stretching. Sorry, guys. I'm not just moaning through the mic for no reason. Stretching. I'll try to keep it quiet. Ow. Anyway, you're tired. You as fuck. Gonna head out now. Night night. Night night, Donkey Tail. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for following. I'll see you next time. Have a good rest of your evening. Sleep well. Sleep well yourself. Don't tell me what to do. It's my favorite comeback. Like to something that is just genuinely like someone is just being nice. It's like someone's just being nice to you and they're just like, sleep well, and you're just like, don't tell me what to do. Like, why are you starting beef with this person who's been nothing but kind to you? Little gremlin. Little bastard. You expect. A very sharp thumb. Not that I am actually have anything against that. I used to yell, you're not the boss of me," to my boss as I walked away to do the task. That's good. That's fucking awesome. I used to have conversations with my friends who would be like, and they'll be like, and remember to take care of yourself, or sleep well, or like, have a good night. And I'm just like, don't tell me what to do. And then I'd walk off, and they'd be like, what? Once your friends get used to that kind of stuff, it becomes less fun. But then there's also like a little joy in the moment where they take it on as well, where they just go like they start going like, "Don't tell me what to do." The personal joy I find in that. Yeah, did in front of customers. You're lucky your boss found it funny. Yeah, that is it. Very much is the kind of thing that you really need to have the right audience for. Absolutely. Like, I'm very lucky that I have a really good boss, but I could also very easily see myself getting into a lot of trouble uh, for my behavior. I think I've talked about this on stream before, but I've drawn like because I'm an illustrator, but my job is not illustration. I don't work in illustration. Um, but I do make fun a lot of the time, and I do goof about a lot. Um, and one of the things I began doing is that my office, the managers at my office have glass like glass walls that lead out into the office space, and one of the managers uses their wall to like write on, and they write on in like whiteboard. And one thing I started doing was that I started drawing on the other side of the window in whiteboard that it blended in with their writing, but it was drawings, and it was drawings of like dumb little things. Um, but it like, and I told people about it, just not the manager. And I was like, every single week I'll escalate, and I'll add like a new drawing every single week. And it got to the point where 2 months had passed, and the person hadn't noticed. The manager hadn't noticed. So at that point, I'd drawn like all manner of things, and I'd drawn on either side of the windows at this point as well. So I'd actually gone into their office and drawn on the inside. Um, Still didn't notice. So one day I was like, okay, cool, time to escalate. I'll draw something on the glass door, and I drew a butt farting onto the door handle, and that's the day I got caught. So I didn't get caught drawing it. I drew it, got away with it, and then the manager showed up that day, and he was just like going about his day. Went to reach for his office door handle, and he went, "The butt on my door. It's farting. It's farting. It's farting on my hand. Well, it's farting on my door handle." And then that was the day I had to come clean about it because I couldn't just pretend I hadn't done it at that point. Just deny it. Deny everything. Just keep denying it. I'm like, I didn't do that. Trying to do my job here, guys. Trying to be professional here. Learn a thing or two from me. I didn't get in trouble. Must have been a ghost. Yeah, it certainly wasn't me. Had to have been a ghost. Couldn't have been me, guys. I don't work anywhere near that guy. I do. I'm literally right next to him. It could have only have been me. Alright guys, I'll come clean. I saw our janitor do it. But yeah, then I also showed him all of the drawings and stuff. I pointed them out and he was like, "What?" He was like shocked. It's just like, how many of these have you done? I'm like, "Oh, upwards of many. I mean, 8 at that point." And yeah, he was so taken aback by it. He was like, and then I stopped doing it and he was asking about, like, he's like, "Wait, why'd you stop?" And I'm like, "It's not fun anymore. You caught me." So I started drawing a marching band on a different manager's window. Just a scamp. I'm just a HR nightmare, really. The rat, guys. The mouse is constantly in trouble with HR. Luckily, he's just so endearing. HR doesn't mind. That arm feels sort of short. I mean, it absolutely feels. Yeah, got a squiggly little arm. Window vandal strikes again. Start drawing mice and be like, "Looks like we have a mouse problem." That's actually really smart. I really like that a lot. That's good. That's a good one. I'm gonna do that. I have to. when I get caught by the manager who's doing that, I'm doing the marching band window. Once they catch me, I'll be like, oh, this it looks like we got ourselves a mouse infestation on HR. So then I guarantee I get myself fired. Yes, Grey Mouse, we're not renewing your contract. Shit. Why? Is it because of the the quality of my work? No, it's the mouse thing. Oh, yeah, you got me banged to rights there. You know what? Fair enough. I can't blame you for that. They're like, yeah, clear your desk. Is it because of the destruction of property? Because the is it because of the millions of dollars of property damage I've caused? But it was all. But I was just being a cheeky scamp. Yeah, well, cheeky scamp doesn't cover the cleaning bills. Shit. Clear your desk. Ah. Should have called pest control. Yeah, exactly. Not on me. We didn't call the exterminators. Other arm, but that's easy. I don't actually have to do details on it. Zid, I was curious to know, are you an art book collector? Are you one of those types of artists? Asking out of curiosity. It's not a judgment thing, because I am, personally. I collect like a fuck ton of art books. You used to collect concept art books. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I do too. I still do. I'm a sucker for them. But you just don't seem to read books these days. That's also fair. I can like I work full time and I'm also working on a comic basically part time. So I can understand that feeling, not having time to read. I kind of just like these days I do kind of just collect them as like coffee table books now to impress people. I just find that such a dumb thing to say. Oh, I do it to impress people. Not really. But like my process for uh like working on my creativity is I've been told it's quite weird, but because of my big brain, make a table out of table books. Ooh, that'd be good. It's a coffee table made of coffee table books. Ignore the sketchy looking ones. They are as sketchy as you expect them to be. But yeah, I promise that they are tasteful. One thing I used to do because I have that background as a photographer and cinematographer is that a lot of where I developed creative um, thinking was through novels rather than through art books because I used to use them as an opportunity to imagine what the worlds and things look like beyond worlds and the visual description look like. So a lot of my illustration style is built on the foundation of visual description rather than visual imagery. If they get coffee on them, they're now coffee books. That's true. That's so dumb. I love it. That's goofy as hell. I love it. Sorry, I spilled tea on your coffee table. What? Just the shock. Spilled what? on my coffee table. Uh, tea? No. How could you do this to me? Table evolved into table. Amazing. That's actually really good. The table. Uh, don't encourage you. I'll do as I please. This is mostly what my streams are about encouraging people to do what they want. Or, in the case of getting Loki to encouraging Loki to go to sleep, encouraging people to do things they don't want. Gotta go AFK for a moment. All good, all good. Yeah, no, I'm just the king of encouraging people to do stuff. As the mouse, of course. In real life, I do respect people's boundaries. Here, though, I'm like, hey, you should do it. You should do it, even if it's financially ruinous for you. Do it. Fun. Now my coffee's cold. Oh well, I'm going to continue to drink it because this is the bed I've made, and I will lie in it. Ugh. It's agony. Not only is it instant coffee, it's room temperature. This room is quite cold. It's not like an iced coffee. It's like a sad coffee. It is tragique. Really tragique. Like in this state, I can't win as the mouse. Drink my terrible coffee. Fuck. Better, but still fuck. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Nice. I can accept that. A lot of that. That's a lot of my line work process is that it's just me swearing because I got a line wrong. Again, with the Australian being okay with saying fuck, but not the B word. It's not because I'm, a feminist and an avid supporter of women's rights and that stuff. It's because if I say it in my fucked up accent, and I don't mean just Australian, I mean Oz British, like my Australian British accent, people will think I'm actually violent. Don't need that. Don't need that reputation. Spend so long protecting those Koroks, and then I just get a reputation as being a bastard. No, not for me. There's something wrong with this guy. Dogan, I mean, not me. I mean, there's plenty wrong with this guy. I mean, my illustration. Feels super weird knowing that tomorrow I don't have to go to work, but I do have to go to work. In that tomorrow's the first day I stream full time on the comic. So tomorrow I'll be doing this, but it's like such a weird feeling that I'll be like, I'm gonna wake up at 8, set up my computer, gonna stream from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m. and then again from 6 p.m. till 10, and that's gonna be my job for the week. It's exciting, but it's also so weird. Holy shit. Getting chapter 1 done. That'd be so cool. Releasing it. Watching people read it. Or not watching people read it, but like having people read it. And be like, hey, this is shit. Having my hopes and dreams dashed. Now, I think people will be happy with it. Not too much explained though, so ultimately we're pretty safe. Story quality wise, rise. Jesus, man. Jesus, mouse. Learn to speak. Bumping South America. Sorry. It's a joke. I did not expect to, like, a running joke in my stream. The fact that my mic is South America, or contains South America. It's my excuse for why the proportions are always so weird. On everything. Is Punga a baby orangutan, or is he like a sentient acorn? We can't be certain. Can't be certain yet. Maybe there will be a reveal about Punga's true nature. Say. Can't be certain. Punga could be a sentient orange, for all we know. Yeah. Save. Just to be safe. Take a nice mouthful of cold. Just I'll tell you what would make my life easier. If the wind of this coming storm in this comic just knocked over this arch, I wouldn't have to draw the arch ever again. Oh, I could do that. Just a little behind the scenes kind of thing there. Greymouse actually illustrated in the arch falling over because he did not want to draw it anymore. And he was being lazy. As time went on, we came to understand that that was just what his community would call a classic grey mouse. Where he would cut corners to do less. I say as if I didn't spend 4 months on a single panel. I wanted it to look perfect. That looks terrible. There you go. I mean, sort of. It'll do. Go. Oh, man, I love jazz. Jazz is great. I love that for the people who are watching this either in the VODs or on YouTube, they'll be like, "What the fuck is he talking about? Why did he just randomly say I love jazz?" You'll never know. Because for those of you who exclusively watch VODs, I actually have a person here talking to me on Discord that I've muted in the VODs. You'll never know who this person is. It's Punga. It's perpetuating a lie that people are gonna like uncover very quickly just by watching like a single live episode. They'll be like, wait, he's not talking to anyone. There's just music. That's all it was. It's music. Grey Mouse is fucking with us. Hey man, husband has requested we watch TV, so you shall be lurking. Have a great stream. All good, all good. Have a lovely evening. Have a lovely TV watch. Have a good time. Catch you next time. Catch you when I catch you next, I think. Everything I need to do other than maybe motionless. Seems to should draw in ground, but I think I'm pretty okay with that. Colors. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. Grey Mouse can't speak and he can't spell. Nice. It is the mousy way. Mouse, how does Australian help people not get stung by jellyfish? Don't get stung by jellyfish. That's how I help. To actually answer that question, how do you how does Australia help people not get stung by jellyfish? Increase most people's awareness of jellyfish. Um, we have a few pretty bad jellyfish like in this area. So most people who grow up around the seas and also people who visit like the coast a lot have this awareness about if you see a jellyfish, get away from it. It's basically just a floating, but is there like big nets and stuff? No, not really. Box jellyfish. Box jellyfish are really bad. Yeah. We also have a lot of other dangerous sea creatures. Not just talking about sharks and stuff. Um, we also have a tiny little octopus called the blue ringed octopus. It's about the size of your palm, but it is maybe one of the most poisonous creatures in Australia. One bite from them, well, if it injects its poison into you, there is no, well, you have like, I think 5 minutes before it kills you or something like that, something ridiculous. You're pretty much guaranteed to die if you get bit by one. Oh, that's right, there's no antidote, right? I think so, I'm not certain. Then there's this type of fish which is horrible. It's called a stonefish. And basically it's very, very well camouflaged. But like, you also have your dreaded rival called the Florida Man. That's also true. Um, yeah, but there's like a type of fish called a stonefish that is so well camouflaged it looks like a stone in rock pools. But if you step on it, you are, from what I heard, you are guaranteed to die of either shock or the poison. And as a result, as an Australian, I often actually avoid the water. I don't go to the seaside very often. Well, actually not. I don't go to the seaside very often. I don't swim in the ocean very often because I am Australian and I've come to learn about Australian sea life and it's fucked. Looks like just normal sand, right? Yeah, or just a normal rock, like a brown rock, basically. It's so well camouflaged that it can look like either sand or just a rock, and it's terrifying. It's a terrifying thought, but it's real and it sucks. It's an icky boy, icky lad. But yeah, like, so as a result, even though I am Australian, I don't swim in the ocean very often. And if I do, I stay in the shallows. Also, because I think we talked about it during the control stream, but Harold Holt, one of our prime ministers, went missing at sea. I don't know why I'm giggling as I say it, but that's a thing. That also happened. That makes me averse to the ocean. Is that if a strong swimming prime minister could go missing in our seas, What's to say a mouse can't? Um, yeah, I'd take my chances with the land sooner than I would with the ocean. And it's not that I'm afraid of water or afraid of swimming. I'm a fairly decent swimmer, but I just know what's out there. Not saying that you shouldn't swim in the ocean either, but it's also one of those things that it's just like, well, we got a lot of creatures that will kill you. Same as also like if you're in Australia and you're going to the toilet and it's a toilet outside, maybe just check under the toilet seat or the toilet seat just for spiders and stuff. Because like sure, redback poison can't kill adults, but you don't want to be stung bit on your dangus. So especially not with spider poison. Spider venom, sorry, not poison. The meme of your chances of this happening are low but never zero is funny, but it terrifies me on in terms of animals. Oh yeah, like the chance of you being killed by um like a Labrador are low but never zero. And it's because yeah, um statistically, or not even statistically, but the last time a person was killed by a redback spider bite was the 1970s. But you just don't want to take your chances with those creatures. Those guys, they're vicious. They're vicious. Coming from a mouse who has been bit by a redback, it's horrible. It sucks. Like, it genuinely sucks. It's not fun. It's not a fun experience, and they are vicious. They just run up and bite you. You're just like, you son of a bitch. I did say that I was like adverse to saying bitch, but only when but not when I'm talking about spiders. That's my exception. The rule. Spiders and creatures that can kill me. I don't count people among that list of creatures that can kill me. Uh, good lord, so they're like, fuck you, bitch, I'm stinging you. Okay, bye. Some of them are. My experience, so I have been bitten by a redback spider. My experience of it was that I literally did not like step on it accidentally or like provoke it in any way. It just saw me, ran for me, bit me, and then died because my brother stomped on it afterwards, after I had been bit. I didn't do anything to like warrant the bite. It just bit me. And this is me, like this is me we're talking about. I take extra time to make sure the Koroks get safely to their location. I'm not going to go out of my way to harm another creature, even if it's a spider that I know is venomous. Like the worst creature you could bite is a mouse that doesn't hurt anything. Goes out of his way to not hurt anything. Why? I'm like a nice mouse. Fuck you, coughs up blood, fucking human. The redback spider that stung you, probably. Yeah, he's like, you fucking bastard. You're a fucking dickhead, mate. Not bite your ankle. Bite you, you cheeky fucker. And then he died. And he was dead. He was like, worth it. Did it. Enjoyed it. I did it for me. I didn't do it for anyone else. I did it for me. And I enjoyed it. I was good at it. And then Nice. Oh, almost 2 hours. But I am genuinely surprised how much quicker I am getting at filling in these like panels and stuff. Great, really good. Yeah, it's really good. I'm only dying because I want to die, said the redback spider. Yeah, exactly. He's like, I choose to. I die because I choose to, not because you just sent a boot through my entire system. With the strength of 1,000 gods. Well, 1,000 spider gods, as far as I know. Said the spider. El aracnido. Puts up its little spider middle finger as it goes down. It's all broken up because it's just been stomped. Like, fuck you. Fuck you. And it's like, I win. Those situations where, like, you're just in an argument with some dickhead and they're just like, I win. And you're just like, I'm gonna kill you. Mass, have you ever seen or heard of the show called Mr. In Between? I've heard of Mr. In Between. Uh, I think my family has watched it. I'm the only one who hasn't. So sorry about that. Yeah. But if you got a point, make it. Yeah. No, sadly I haven't seen it. Like the people who flip the chessboard over. You didn't get to confirm your win. Yeah, oh man. That is frustrating. I will admit, as a kid I may have been one of those people. Not the flip that like I would never go so far as to flip the chessboard over kind of thing. But if I was losing, I'd be like, okay, I don't want to play anymore. And like admittedly, I was a kid, so there is a bit of that leeway, but I also feel like if I went back in time and saw myself as a kid, I'd be like, ah, oh, dude, come on. Just take the L. It's fine. I've grown as a person. Because you technically didn't win, I technically didn't lose. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and very much with my story, it is the kind of thing like children do. If you're an adult and you resort to being like, oh, the game's over, or you flip the board or whatever, you're like earthquake in Monopoly, and it's like, that's something kids do. It's like the object permanence thing. You know, like there are certain adults who still don't understand like the concept of object permanence. And it's like that's a thing children become aware of. Like it naturally developmentally become aware of. Don't do that, you fucking idiot. Go here, then do that. Mouse watching himself play board games as a kid. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just like, no, you lose. Just lose like graciously, alright? Young mouse. Just do it, it's fine. You don't want to grow up to be this person who's just like who can't like take losing. I think that's awful. It was the one thing that I am grateful that I grew up like I learned growing up is just to accept loss. Sometimes you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose sometimes in board games and just in life. And to accept loss gracefully is an important thing, you know, because even if you lose, people see that and they go, "Oh, you handled that with grace. Good person." I got some fucking embarrassing stories as a kid, being a kid. But you know, we're all embarrassing kids at one point or another. It's fine. Although there are times people didn't deserve to win. That's also true. And it like there's nothing worse than someone being a bad winner as well. And it's just like, well, you didn't. Now it feels like you didn't deserve to get that win. But then in the end, are they truly the winners if they showed no grace or decorum. I remember I used to play basketball, and I was on a team where we basically had it like in high school I played basketball, and at that point I had a pretty early growth spurt. I don't know your personal scenarios, but those do happen. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But when I was playing basketball, I when I turned well in year seven, I basically was 6 foot, so I was really tall uh, in early high school, and I played basketball and stuff like that. So most of the kids I played basketball with didn't hadn't gone through a growth spurt, so they were all still relatively like average kid height. Other than this one guy on my team who was like 6'2", 6'3" by year seven. He was a big dude, like huge, and he played basketball with me, and basically together we were we were defense, but we were this unbeatable defense in basketball. And we went through the tournament, and we played the season and got to the grand final, and it was one of those situations where we were up against probably the best team in our state, and we were one of the better teams in our state as well. But for defense, our defense was unmatched because we had two really tall people uh, running defense. And during the grand final, they purposefully like collided with the big guy and hit him and caused him to bleed. And because the referee didn't see it, the person who hit him didn't get a penalty, but because the guy who got hit bled, he had to get off the field. And so, it essentially cheating their way to a win, because basically with one person we couldn't do as good of a defense, and it became that like situation of basically if they wanted to get through, they were going to hit me too. Um, Going up against you two is one of those the fuck am I supposed to do here? Yeah, scenarios that I would hate to do. Yeah, it does suck, of course, like going up against two really tall guys in defense, but none of them could get the ball higher than our hands. So, admittedly, if we had a chance to block it, we were blocking it. But yeah, they basically like hit our guard in the nose, that he'd bleed, and then basically went for the same kind of thing. Two really tall defense guys when no one else is tall as shit. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, yeah, that's an unfair advantage, but it's not cheating. And they basically, yeah, and it was really like awful. It's like these people don't deserve to win, but they won. They beat us on points because also our offense was not very good, or not the best. So yeah, we ended up losing. But it was just like, ugh, I don't want to shake these guys' hands. And it's weird, like playing a team sport. You meet those people who are like, they'll do whatever they want, and they're like, it's a sport, it's a contact sport or whatever, and it's just like, dude, just punched a kid in the face. It's like, why do that? It's like in SpongeBob when he reluctantly shakes Squidward's hand, thinking about how much he loathes him. Yeah, exactly. It's like, ugh, people are the worst. Like, no grace, no sportsmanship. Like, oh, but it's a contact sport, It's like it's a ruthless game, and it's like, yeah, but this is a game for kids. we're in like we're in like third division. Why are we fighting each other? You know, we're trying to just play sport, play on a basis of skill, not punch another kid in the face. I'll admit I never intentionally hurt anybody in sport, but I do remember one time when I once was playing basketball and I accidentally wedged my elbow into another kid's neck accidentally and winded them like quite badly, and I was like, oh my god, and I because it wasn't intentional, I didn't get a penalty for it, but I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like I felt so bad, like genuinely so bad. Or people who treat school sports as it's the Olympics and the winner gets to live. Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, I never felt that way. I just felt it was like I was too big of a nerd to care that much about sport, but I was also good at sport. So there was like that double-edged sword. I had to do a sport, and so many of my school sports were team sports. So I did football, and then I also did basketball. Um, then I stopped doing football because I my dad was the coach, and I'd never seen my dad as angry as when he was coaching my team. So I stopped because I didn't want my dad to have a heart attack. Um, yeah. Is this before your Skyrim kid days? It was, yeah, slightly before. I got into Skyrim when I kind of stopped doing sport quite as often. I was still doing basketball because I had to do a sport. At my school, it was mandatory. You had to do a sport or an extracurricular. So I was still doing basketball, and then I was also playing Skyrim. And I found where my true love lied, in fantasy and video games. But then also mostly just fantasy. It's when I got into um, D&D, and through D&D, I found a way to get out of doing sports, and I ended up doing musicals and stuff like that. And I did like band things like that, so I didn't actually have to do sports after a certain point in time. And that's when I dove headlong into the nerd shit, doing D&D and things like that, and Skyrim. Mandatory sports for schools aren't the worst ideas. Granted, there's a whole variety of said sports. Yeah, yeah, and that was the big thing, was that like because there was such a wide variety, and it wasn't just sports; it was extracurricular events or activities. So I got out of doing sport because I was doing band and musicals and stuff. But yeah, it was a very valuable. Like I have no issue with it being mandatory. I think it was actually a good idea to make it mandatory. Although I never did sports for high school, you did ROTC for all of high school. Uh, I don't know what that acronym stands for, but good for you. Yeah, and I have no issue with it, like mandatory sports. Return of the kids? I don't know. It does seem like a thing that kids would hate for it being lame and stupid, but to be honest, it opens doors for new friends at the very least. Yeah, it's a really good social foundation. It's doing a sport. It's like high school military stuff. Ah, okay. Cool. Yeah, I think it's important. And like you may hate it at the time. I know I personally hated going to trainings and things like that. And even when I went even when I started doing band and musicals and things like that, you still had rehearsals and practices, and those were usually at times that never felt convenient. So like early mornings or afternoons when you'd rather be at home playing Skyrim or setting up a D&D game with your friends, things like that. But it was like it was important. It was an important social development thing. Um, and I don't regret doing quite so many sports as I did in high school because I thought it ended up being really good for me. That's why I would hate doing it if it's at the ass crack of dawn. Yeah, So I joined band in year nine. Never played an instrument. Well, I played piano before that, but then stopped because I hated it. And then from there, never played a instrument again. But I was roped into doing band because it was like a good way to get out of sports, and I was kind of tired of doing sports. So I was like, cool, I'll do it. And our practices, our rehearsals were 7 a.m. every Wednesday, and that was exhausting because basically you're at school, especially in winter before the sun rose. So it was dark. You were practicing, and then once you were finished with practice, hey, guess what? You go to school and you study and you'd learn your lessons and stuff like that. And you'd have recitals and you'd have the performance at the end of the year. We also had camp. We had band camp, which was fucking awesome. It was always super good. But for anyone who's watched American Pie, they always go, "Oh yeah, band camp." It wasn't exactly like that kind of a band camp, but it was also really fun and a really good opportunity to just be a kid. Sometimes felt like something that you feel kind of deprived of going to school for so much of your life and your time, which is weird to say because you're a kid then, but you're spending so much time studying and thinking about your future, you don't really get a chance to enjoy the time you have. At least I didn't feel like I did. But then again, I think I've talked about this before. My schooling experience was very peculiar, slightly left of center, basically. Yeah, his wife goes on and on about band camp, and that this one time at band camp, I stuck a flute up my down there. He's like, "Wait, she does that stuff?" Yeah, yeah, not exactly how that was. I think, actually, I can't remember the wildest thing that happened at band camp. It was, you know, different from the norm, but it wasn't that. There weren't any flutes going up any pee holes. I don't know why I said it like that. But yeah, I think, yeah, at most it was like you'd just dare a kid to like drink tomato sauce straight from the spout or whatever, and they would because kids are impressionable. You really said it as if it's a bad word, Mouse. Yeah, pee hole. We got to do some things classy here, all right? We can't always be rot, all right? We can't always be scuff. Sometimes we gotta work with the classics. Got a bit of class up in here sometimes. All right, is that so much to ask? It's like when your mum invites like her friends around or like fancier friends around, and it's like you're gonna be on your best behavior. Sometimes we gotta be like that. Happens. All right, and we play along because we do it for her. Yes, it's too much to ask. That's also fair. You know what? I shouldn't have expected too much. Can't expect any different. I have cultivated this community, so I shouldn't expect you guys to like drop of the hat change your behavior because I've encouraged the other kind of behavior. Silly me. I not expect you to be gentlemen in my chat. No, that's too much to ask. Oh, fair enough. Or it could just be in your fucking room, me probably in the past, and me in a different universe. Yeah, no, I get that. Fucking I didn't like entertaining parents' guests. But I felt like I was a boring kid. I was like, I drew this picture, and they're like, "Cool, all right." Speak to any girls, and I'm like, ugh. I play like D&D, and they're like, "Oh, all right, no," and it's like that's an assumption. The fact that it's accurate is rough, but it's an assumption. Actually, that's not true. I was talking to girls in high school. I was in band. I was in musicals. I had to talk to girls. I say that as if it was like a punishment. It wasn't. It was great. And God forbid they've known you forever because they'll go on about how handsome you were when you were born. Yeah, oh man. Or how much I look like my parents. Things like that. Because that's what you lived. Oh man, that's rough. That's rough. I no, I get that feeling. And I get that situation. I had brothers. I had brothers. I have brothers. And so it was like, you know, I mean, the dichotomy is there. So, like, my older brother is very, very smart, very analytical. Um, Numbers, he's just like, just he can. He's just incredibly like academically smart. And there was me, and I was like, I drew this goose. So there's a big dichotomy between me and my older brother, and like when we were getting to high school and stuff like that, it's like, oh yeah, he's studying engineering and physics and stuff like that, and it's like Will gotta, you know, like it was always like a situation where it was just like, will we see a maths genius from the younger brother? No, absolutely not. Very bad at maths, very bad with numbers. So what grade are you in? Do you have any girls who are friend Have any girls who are friends, and do you want to be more than friends with? What's your favorite subject? Oh god, actually I do remember those conversations. Ugh. Yeah, I remember those conversations. They sucked. Ugh. Yeah, no. What's my favorite subject? I don't know. Art? You want to be an artist? And it's like, I guess so. Like, oh, I know. I remember telling someone I want to make comics, and they were like, "Oh, I mean, not a lot of money in that." And I was like, "But I want to make comics." And yeah, it was always the financial aspect that made it more difficult. Now you're 22 and not 13 years old, so thank the gods. Yeah, so glad I got out of that part of my life where I don't have to explain why I'm drawing these pictures or why I'm not a physicist or doctor or lawyer. A lot of people thought I was going to be a lawyer. Part of me wishes you came up with the most horrific answers to be left alone. That's always fun. But as a kid, you're never that like sharp. You're never that on it. I found that I was like I'd always come up with good responses like 3 hours later. I'd be like, damn it, could have really gotten them with that one. Um, but yeah, no, there was a long period of time where people were like, oh yeah, Grey Mouse is gonna become a lawyer. He's really good at like rambling, and that was a lot of the logic behind it. It was like I was very good at rambling. I mean, sure, I'll get punished for it, but you also get your peace and quiet. That's true. They'll never bother you with those questions again. with responses like that. But yeah, like with my nature of finding answers quite quickly in conversation and my ability to converse with people once I was comfortable with them, people really thought I was going to be a lawyer. And I was like, I can't imagine anything. Well, as I grew up, I was like, I can't imagine anything worse for me. I don't deal with confrontation well. So it just never made sense after a certain point. Then there was journalist. There was a period of time where journalist was up in the air. And because I'm Australian, I was like, nope, I don't like that idea. Being a journalist in Australia basically means like, oh, are you gonna join a news outlet that supports uh, our enemy, Rupert Murdoch, or are you gonna be poor and homeless? Or are you gonna have a yeah, you're gonna have a degree that's never gonna be worth anything because you won't do journalism for this conglomerate who will punish you if you bite the hand that feeds you. And in your scenario, anyone your parents were close with were automatically your uncles and aunts, so you got a lot of questions asked. Yeah, I get that. As an adult, I like my intention now is that as my friends are having kids and things like that, um, my intention is to try and be different. And being a kid who grew up sensitive and easily unnerved and easily frightened by things and things like that. Like the only thing I want is to be able to be a person in my friends' kids' lives who they don't get nervous or feel uncomfortable about the thought of my presence. Like as in like if they're like, oh, Grey Mouse is coming over, they're not gonna be like, oh, can I just be in my room? I want people to be like, I want to be like a cool uncle, an uncle that people are gonna like to be around. I'm gonna be around a lot. I like these people. Um, yeah, that's a terrifying scenario. Yeah, absolutely. But also as like I also feel like I'm gonna be set off on a really good foot because I'm an illustrator and I draw cool stuff. Kids like cool drawings. It's a really dumb like logic there, but like you get what I mean. Is that because I'm a creative person, I feel like I shouldn't have too difficult of a time getting along with kids, and I don't usually. But yeah, I guess it's also like the nature that you never want to be the person who makes someone uncomfortable, and I try and emulate that just in everyday life. Or your parents saying you need to clean your room because you have company, but you can't physically be in your room, so you have to socialize. So no one is even going to see your fucking room. Yeah, yeah. My parents used to do this thing where they would like to clean up the house. They would take all the junk and stuff that was like lying about. You know, the stuff that implied that the house was lived in, and they'd put it in their room. And then they'd shut the door to their room, and they'd be like, "Do not open this door while we have guests." I was like, I don't understand. I now understand having, lived in my own place for a year now. I get that. It's like there are things you don't want people to see. And it's not even like scandalous things. It's just like dirty dishes and stuff. Or laundry that's not done. It's so weird. Now as an adult, I fully understand why my parents are like, hide the laundry, hide the undone laundry. Like, actually does feel kind of embarrassing to have unclean laundry just sitting about. If you have kids, you'll just say, we have company, but you don't have to talk to them. But you do need to socialize, not specifically with them, but do it unless you're an introvert, then stay in your room as much as you like. Yeah, I think what I have thought of if I ever become a parent and I have people around, I do want to cultivate socializing, but in within their own speed. So I'm like, you don't have to stay here and chat. You don't have to ask me if it's okay for you to go to your room or anything like that. Um, but I would uh, endorse or reward the idea that if they come out and socialize or just hang out with me, not even the guests, hang out with me, then there's like a little reward to it, and it's just conditioning that idea that it is rewarding to talk to people and to meet new people and stuff like that. Them introducing themselves is enough to and do whatever else. Yeah, exactly. And oftentimes when you're like in social situations when your parents are like socialize, all you really do is go, you introduce yourself and that's it, and then you stand in a corner and feel really awkward. Then it becomes a core memory that you're like, oh, I'm an awkward person now. This is how I, as a human being, am going to shape out to be awkwardness unlocked. And little kids, especially, are quite shy. So slow the fuck down, pressuring them to socialize. Yeah, it's because they're not, because kids aren't quite used to that yet. And it takes time. It takes time to accommodate to that. That's okay. Kids be kids, you know? God forbid no one else is your fucking age group either. Yeah, actually, that does make it harder, doesn't it? Um, yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's tough being a kid. Tough being a kid surrounded by mostly adults. I wasn't, but like, I can imagine it would be for a kid like that. And I have a feeling that, my friends, they'll have kids and stuff. And there will be a period of time where some of their kids will be the only kids in our social circle. And so it's going to be like, well, we have this kid around. How do we talk to it? Them. Good start to go to them as a them as opposed to an it, first off. Uh, and kids are constantly told about strange dangers, so when they see new people at the house, it's weird as fuck. Yeah, also a fair point. Oh, that's a different color, but only slightly. I have a few of my friends were talking about baby names, and because one of the baby names that they've lined up, if the baby turns out to be a boy, is my own name. And I told them, I was just like, look, the kid ends up being a boy, and you want to name them that name, just call me Gray, Uncle Gray. I think Uncle Gray is actually a really cool name. Honestly, it kind of sounds cool. I'm actually okay with that. And I'm actually not too averse to the idea of being called Gray in real life. Like, you can call me by my normal name, but Gray is also kind of a cool name. A color, but well, it's not a color, it's a shade. But, you know, cool. I want to be the cool uncle as well. Your nieces and nephews don't have to sanitize their rooms as if the queen is coming over. Due to due in fairness, your room, your home is messy too. Yeah, yeah. You want people to feel comfortable. But yeah, gonna be a kid that's gonna steal my name in the future. Maybe, potentially, a kid in the future. Gonna steal my name, and I'm totally okay with that. As long as people, as a replacement, call me Grey. I have a different version to my name that they could call me, but I'd rather they call me Grey because it sounds cool. You know, can you imagine Uncle Grey is coming around? And it turns out that Uncle Grey's like a pretty young dude. Can draw ducks and avocados, saying I can't even spell guacamole or woodchucks. Dude, what an absolutely baller dude. They do that. It feels like you're being lied to, and that's okay because it's their parents enforcing those rules. As long as it's decently clean, you're good. Yeah, as long as they don't have shit all over the place, like garbage and stuff, then it's fine. The standard of cleanliness is a normal lived in house, I think. For me, anyway. If there's stuff strewn about, I'm not worried. I'm not concerned. Okay. I would not feel safe going into like a perfectly sanitary house actually. The house looked really clean, almost as if it was like an open house. I'd be like, this is concerning. Doesn't feel real. Where's your actual house? Ain't it? It would feel weird, like a movie scene or something. Yeah, it would feel out of place and weirdly suspicious to me, anyhow. Also, just so unbothered as a person when it comes to things like that. House can be messy. It's okay. No, couldn't give a fuck. Man, I couldn't give a fuck. Just a silly goose. Just a silly goose. My house is a mess. My living room is fantastic. Like I have a beautiful living room. If I do say so myself, if I do blow my own trumpet, I've got a beautiful living room. That's because it's cozy and it looks cozy. Um, and that being said, it is so cluttered. It is so cluttered in that space, but that's part of what makes it cozy. So personally, if people's homes are messy, I am so not bothered because it is. That's the coziness and the personality of your space. That's just me as well. I also understand people who would want to keep their homes clean for guests. And I'm not saying one way or the other, right or wrong. There is no right or wrong for this situation, unless it's causing harm to yourself or to your loved ones. Sure, maybe dial it back. Otherwise, live your life. Speaking of having kids, I'm terrified of having kids because for the most part, everyone raises kids the way everyone else does, despite it not always being smart. Yeah, that's super fair. I, I'll admit I had that fear for a very long time as well. Working in children's mental health, for the time that I did, alleviated those fears because it made me realize that if you don't want to raise your kids the way that you see it so commonly done, there are resources for it. There are resources to help you with that, help you raise your kid, in a way that they will grow up well, happy. Most importantly, grow up happy. Statistically speaking, the best outcome you can get for raising a kid is like I need to word this properly. There's one way I can word it that'll make it sound fucking terrifying. Um, you only need to get it right 30% of the time. And kids don't really, they don't often remember the bad. They'll remember the good more. Do your best to just be happy and then, okay. Man, I can't wait to wear pajamas all this week during Beanstalk week. Just gonna wear my pajamas and draw. I mean, admittedly, I'll also have to go out and socialize with people in person and stuff, but like I can just be in my pajamas while I'm working. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. There's obvious black and white areas, such as if a bully hits your sister, break his fucking nose. But there's many more grey areas. Yeah, well, actually, even bullying is, as we've come to understand it, a grey area. In that the reason a kid bullies is never just black and white. They don't just do it because they're bad kids. Bad kids born from neglect and deeper issues. Just punching the kid in the face isn't necessarily the answer. But you are also right in that you gotta, yeah, you teach your kids like important stuff and build upon it. Think, I mean, if they hit first, then sure, hit them back. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, that absolutely, 100%. I agree with the fuck. Oh right, sorry, I couldn't comprehend my own illustration for a moment. Teach kids how to regulate their emotions as well. I think that's super. Teach them that it's genuinely okay to feel sad and to feel angry, but the way that they process that stuff is very important. But like if you want your kids to be religious or not, to be honest, you're not even sure where you stand in religion despite growing up Catholic. I mean, I'm in the exact same boat, I believe. I mean, I grew up, yeah, Catholic, and nothing made me dis dislike religion more than going to a Catholic school, you know? Uh, as you've once heard, it's okay to not be okay. Yeah, which is really good. That's a really good saying. It, like, the importance comes from how you handle those feelings, and they can be overwhelming. Like, they can suck, but being able to regulate those emotions is such a powerful tool in your growth and development. And it becomes even more important if the kid has autism, things like that, or you grow up neurodivergent. Being able to regulate your emotions is immensely important because as a result, you can also help people around you processing their emotions and that. And that, as a result, you build a circle around you that actually is far more strongly regulated, and these kids are more emotionally intelligent. then once you hit that sad points, you'll realize how good the good points are and how much you want to go back to them. Yeah. And then also, like, even as important, like, you also learn that those sad feelings are temporary. They won't be there forever. So it, as a result, I found for me personally, that always made me more optimistic. Is that because I knew that, the sad days will pass. The good days will come sooner. With every sad day past, a good day will be even closer. And that no pain lasts forever, no matter how bad it feels. It takes time. And it can suck. It could take a long time. That could suck, but it won't last forever. That's a promise. Here we are, getting wholesome again. Fuck you. I was just about to say, I'm recognizing I'm getting too wholesome again, going on my ramble about wholesomeness. I had to just throw in a fuck you. Quick old fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Let me just adjust. I was prawning a little bit, so I was bending. I appreciate that someone's looking out for me. Got him with a fuck you. Hey, bada bing, go fuck yourself. Thank you. Perfect timing. Yeah, exactly. Saved me from myself. Well, with the posture check. Oh man, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that for this week. On my own posture. My own posture. If your future daughter isn't a bitchy gossip girl, my son isn't a douchebag sports player. That's most of it. Yeah, that's all that matters. Never be sure how kids will turn out, but as long as they're happy and kind, then that's more than enough to be proud of. I think. In my humble opinion, that's more than enough. Yeah. Realize I did not add that. And then that. That. There we go. Those colors will need to change. Okay. So needs. Oh, fact from the mouse? So focused on this drawing. Realize. Fact from the mouse. Let me think. What do I know about? This is not. This won't count as a fact from the mouse, but in regards to the statistics stuff, uh, the greatest numeric for success, or numeric statistic for success is actually about 37%. Can you say some Skyrim facts or lore? I can absolutely do that. Same color, I don't know. So, Skyrim. In Skyrim, when you go to Sovngarde, this is one thing I actually find really interesting. In Sovngarde, so Sovngarde is basically I can't remember what it's called, but in Norse mythology, basically Viking heaven, and it's based on Viking heaven. So the Nords are very strongly associated with Vikings and Scandinavian uh, mythology. Um, but if you go to Sovngarde, you can actually meet Ysgramor, who, if you don't know that name, Ysgramor is the original leader of the Companions, which is the faction or the guild in Skyrim that you can actually join and become a werewolf from. Nilfheim? That's or is that Thor from Marvel? Nilfheim is still correct. Nilfheim is just hell. No, that's Helheim. I guess Nilfheim. Yeah, probably Nilfheim. No, it's not. Valhalla. Sorry, Valhalla is Vikings, the Viking heaven. Thank you though, because without Nilfheim, I wouldn't have figured that out. I was going through the process. Um, but so you can meet Ysgramor in Sovngarde. Another important Nord that you can actually meet is Olaf One Eye. And you hear many tales about Olaf One Eye, but you actually never meet a faction who is dedicated to him. So Olaf One Eye, you learn about through secondary sources, so like books and things like that, and he's referred to as like the terrible Olaf One Eye, and so on. Fuck, I knew that one. That was easy. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like it's all good. We learn at different paces. We remember at different paces. Um, but so you can meet Olaf One Eye in in Sovngarde. You can also meet Ragnar the Red, who's the character or the legend of tale of the songs that the bards sing. So there once was a hero named Ragnar the Red, came riding to Whiterun from Old Rorikstead. That guy. But Olaf One Eye was a much hated Nord. He was hated amongst his people, and many of his stories told by the bards were negative. If you speak to Olaf in Sovngarde, he actually remarks about the mistakes he made in life, and that he was often too cruel to the bards, or often did not treat the bards with courtesy, and he grew to regret it, and would regret it in death, leading us to believe. Oh, and you can meet the previous king of Skyrim, right? Yes, yeah, he died, and uh, hold on, I know his name, Sorig. Yeah, you can meet Sorig, which is there's a nice bit of peace of mind there, knowing that even though he was killed, High King was killed in combat and stuff like that, he still made it to heaven, to like their heaven. However, with Olaf One Eye, you learn only about him through secondary sources, and most of the secondary sources speak about him in a negative light. And then meeting him in Sovngarde, you find that he's actually a very nice guy and a very a good man, a good honorable man, because only honorable people go to Sovngarde. However, because of his treatment of the bards, history remembered him differently. And I really like that, but that's like one thing. Is it true that since the king was challenged to a duel by Ulfric, he had to duel him? Yeah. Well, that was the old ways as well, and this is why there's so much contention um in the game. Is that because Skyrim was no longer really ruled by the old ways, but the Stormcloaks still strongly believed in the old ways, and then because Sorig was actually quite well liked by the Nords who became the Stormcloaks, uh, they knew that he was still quite fond of the old ways, and he actually used to pray to Talos, like an honor system. Yeah, exactly. In Scandinavian mythology, it was if you died in battle, you went to Valheim, not Valheim, Valhalla, and only if you died in battle, because that was an honorable death. If you died any other way, you would go to Helheim, and Helheim was said to have been a world built upon the still bleeding spine of a large serpent, not the world serpent, but basically the world was built upon a spine, and the spine constantly bled, but bled venom, and the only thing the denizens of Helheim had to drink was goat urine. Don't tell me how I won't, actually, I can tell you how I know this stuff. Horrible Histories told me that stuff. But basically, we don't have a Helheim in Skyrim. Though I don't doubt that there's a version of it, probably. Also, actually, since we're talking about Skyrim, one of my favorite facts that I just remembered, because it's been a very long time since I've played, so some of the facts I'm not, like, will take me a little bit of time to remember, but one of my favorite facts, shout out to Horrible Histories. Horrible Histories is awesome. Very good. The original series was very good with the original actors. They were awesome. But one of my favorite facts is right at the start of the game when you're in the carriage, you're there with the Stormcloaks who have been captured and a horse thief called I can't remember his name. He's only in there for a very short period of time, but it's something starting with an R. No, Lokier. Lokier of Rorikstead. So first off, his name is a reference to the Scandinavian god of mischief, Loki, and you can meet his lover, M. Lover? What? That I don't understand necessarily. Oh, M is a typo. You can meet his lover. Okay. Yeah. Um, but you can meet, so Lokier of Rorikstead. He's a horse thief. He accidentally got caught up in the ambush, just like your character, and is being sent for execution. Uh, Prior to his execution, he prays to all the gods. The one god he prays to most strongly, Akatosh. Akatosh is, I'm saying that like such a nerd, Akatosh. The god Akatosh is the god of, I think, wisdom and knowledge, but is also the god of dragons, who appears at Helgen to save you from execution. The first son of Akatosh, Alduin. So there is a theory, I don't know if this is necessarily a fact, but there is a theory that Akatosh answered Lokir's prayers. It's not in the way he expected. Yeah, yeah. That's one fact I know quite well, and I really like that one because it's a theory, but it's like a really good one. Because it delves into that religious and like that religion and stuff. And one of my favorite things about fantasy like settings is that you can create a world where the gods are real, but the way they answer your prayers is like the gods are real and people know it. It's not like a question of faith. It's like the gods are real. Your choice to either believe in them or not believe in them is built upon your understanding or your experience with the gods, not so much your belief that they exist. Is it like, well, it's not explicitly said, but what else would it be? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think. What else I think? What are other facts about Skyrim that I know? Trying to think. Trying to figure them out or remember them. Because yeah, like I said, it's been a very long time since I've played. This is more a reference, but it's very cool. In Blackreach, so the underground city, like the deep underground city, where you have that horrible mission to hunt the Nirnroot, the Crimson Nirnroot. There is a section of the area where there is this glowing orb, like this glowing gold orb. If you uh, use a dragon shout on it, like you dragon shout at it, it summons a dragon. This dragon is red, like it's a red dragon. It's a bright crimson dragon, which is it. It's a strange looking dragon for its color. This is because it's a reference to The Hobbit, because that is Smaug. Because the reference is that it's a red dragon in a dwarven keep that has appeared in a dwarven keep, and it has a name. It has like a name that actually alludes to Smaug, but it's not actually Smaug. It's not exactly Smaug because that'd be too on the nose. Downloading Skyrim onto your Xbox One with your 360 Skyrim because I've told you so much about Elder Scrolls. You want to learn more? Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah, homie's a dragon, the caves and stuff. Yeah, that's Smaug from The Hobbit, or it's a reference to Smaug from The Hobbit. Let me just have a stretch before we move on to shadows. Uh, oh, okay, I'm feeling good. In a dwarven keep that has been long deserted by the dwarves as well, which is literally The Hobbit. Yeah, exactly. Super cool. One of my, it's just, I like those references and stuff like that. There's, a reference to Ice Age. Oh, wait, no, not Ice Age. Ancient Paleolithic, or the Ice Age, not the movie Ice Age. But there's a reference to, there's a mammoth with spears in the ice. Hold on. Shadows. This isn't Skyrim, but in Fallout New Vegas, if you choose Wild Wild Wasteland, there are a many there are many references to other things. Everyone knows the fridge with the corpse in it, with Indiana Jones's hat on. Everyone knows that reference. It's right outside Good Springs. Um, One of my favorite references to a thing that causes me immense distress every time I think about it is there in the Lonesome Road DLC. There is a petrified dog, and if you pass your cursor over it, its name is Seymour, and that's a reference to Seymour Butts from Futurama, from the episode Jurassic Park, which never stops making me crying. Never fails to make me cry when I think about that episode. So sad. Fuck, Skyrim isn't backwards compatible. Oh, tragic. You have to buy Skyrim for Xbox One. Playing into Todd's greedy little fingies. You're welcome, Todd Howard. I got another one. This guy's buying Skyrim in 2023. Curse you, Bethesda! Bethesda! How could you do this to me? Bethesda! Shaking your fist at the sky. Yeah, Bethesda, they really need to pull their thumb out. Don't try and sell me Skyrim again. Give me Elder Scrolls 6. And make it a good one. Make it a bloody good one. Actually, also another thing I didn't mention, but I did really like about Fallout 4 is that I really like the randomized legendary drops. So weapons that had legendary attributes to them. That could be super random, but they could also be like super OP, but on a shit weapon, or any kind of weapon. But I really like that because it added this uniqueness to your character's playthrough and your character's fighting style and things like that. I like that. Big fan. 1,000 hells await you full spawn. Not if they die in battle. Then they're good. Sorted. So angry. You just have to buy Skyrim again. Surely it's pretty cheap now. Came out in 2011. Sorry, mate. You got a job now. You can buy Skyrim again. I bought Skyrim 3 times in my lifetime. Hey, maybe that was Oblivion. I bought one of them a lot. I mean, it's probably Oblivion. I bought Oblivion a fuck ton of times. I like Oblivion a lot. Oh, I like that. Oh, if I had a job. Well, you had a job before, but ugh, I got to go. Gotta buy it again. Like, okay, fine, but why? Yeah, Todd got you there, mate. Got you. He's got your bank account details. Well, he doesn't even need to get them. He just knows that you'll have to come back and buy it again. But yeah, bloody got you, mate. I'm just his double agent. I'm educating people on Skyrim, and then people are like, "Oh, that's cool. I'll have to play it again," and then have to buy it again. As a result, I get a commission every single time I get someone to buy Skyrim. I have to. I get like 3%. He doesn't have you buy the balls. He's got your what? Got you by the wallet. Yeah, exactly. Tragic, but it is what it is, right? Play Skyrim. We will do crazy. We do crazy things for love. Like buy Skyrim like 25 times. The things we do for love. Then pushes a kid out a window. It is. It's the things we do for love. We just buy Skyrim over and over again, 100 times over. We love Skyrim, even if it's not perfect. May not be perfect, but it's good. Pretty good. Good enough for me. Wonder how much I'll actually get done on this comic for Beanstalk Week. be working all day on the comic, and then in the evenings, I'll like when I usually would do these streams, so the 3 hour streams after work, I'm going to be doing sticker streams. So it'll be like shifted around a little bit, but I'll still have like a ton of time to do these comics. I'll do the comic. Wondering how much I'll get done. Time. More Skyrim lore, please. I'll try and think. See what's rattling along in the old brain box. Um, yeah, I'll think for a moment. Skyrim lore. Is it out of my brain? Take me a moment. It might take me a little while to think of stuff, but I'll keep thinking. Yeah. What is Skyrim? I think like many like nerdy languages and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure the dragon tongue language can actually be translated. That's one thing I know about. Is that dragon tongue? There are a lot of common phrases, and they actually have meanings. So the like dragon language, in the game can be translated. Paarthurnax. Uh, so you never beat Skyrim. With that said, you don't know why people hate the lady. Forgot her name. Trying to kill Paarthurnax. It's yeah, Delphine. I think it's so for me, the reason why I dislike Delphine is it's a death by a thousand cuts kind of a situation. In that, admittedly, her character and the blades don't actually do a lot. They are dependent on you to do anything or to make any like great achievements. They actually need you to progress their means. So ultimately, they're using you. They use you for their own ends. And Delphine being the basically the head of the Blades because Esben isn't doing shit. He's just researching and stuff. But because Paarthurnax is generally pretty peaceful with you, a lot of people didn't like that. Delphine was like, "Oh yeah, you need to kill Paarthurnax because he was on Alduin's side," and it's like, yeah, but he also it was instrumental in defeating Alduin. The description of most Bethesda factions and characters, basically. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, honestly, that is fair. Also, fun little fact, because we're talking about Paarthurnax. Paarthurnax is voiced by Mario, the voice of Mario, and I mean the actual voice of Mario, not Chris Pratt. Um, but yeah, he's because of his crimes committed, you know, long before, like hundreds of thousands of years ago, almost. Uh, the Blades want him dead. They think he'll just be another dangerous dragon, but it's like that's a very narrow-minded scope, and a lot of people dislike that. We certainly don't exist without you, Bethesda characters to the main character. Yeah, we literally don't exist without you. Yeah, we are literally dependent on you for our own survival. Main character, we need you. Some characters in the game is like we're literally only alive because of you, because you saved us. so many times. All by the real guy. Damn, good for him. That must have been a cool job. Yeah, well, apparently from what I've heard, he's a very enthusiastic man, and he's more than happy to do because he is a voice actor. He's not just the voice of Mario and nothing else. Though, let's be honest, those residuals would have been incredible. Uh, I think he's like set for life. I think the voice of Mario. Um, but yeah, he voices Parthenax. He also has voiced characters from uh, what's it called? The Dark Crystal Netflix show. He voiced a character in that. He's got a very good voice, and not just the "It's a me, Mario," voice. He's got a very good just voice, and so a lot of his like deeper voice characters sound great. So that's why Parthenax sounds so good. Not only do you have to carry them to the destination, but they forget their lefts and rights, so you have to baby them. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, you have to save Esben from the slums in Riften because he was going to be assassinated, and like literally, Delphine's like, I can't leave my post here. You're going to have to go and save him, and it's like you've literally done nothing. She's like, she's reliant on contacts to like do her dirty work for her. Like the Thalmor embassy infiltration, she's not even there for. She gets a wood elf to do it. Is that his voice flexible so he can do a lot of characters? Yeah, I think so. I think his natural voice is just like uh good enough that he can reach the deep tones and then also the Mario tone. I find that having a deep voice, you kind of it's if you have a if you have flexible enough vocal cords, you can reach the higher tones as well. Those are the harder parts for someone with a deep voice. So if you can reach them well, then you're good. You're set as a voice actor. I've gotten to like because I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom now. Matt Mercer voices Ganondorf, and it's like, oh, that's Matt. I know him. That's just Matt Mercer. But he does deep voices really, really well. And as a result, if you've watched him on Critical Role, he voices high pitched characters really well also. And I think it is having that um, diversity in vocal range that is super important in being a versatile voice actor. What's the highest mountain in Skyrim called? Throat of the World. It's called the Throat of the World. Oh wait, is it? Throat of the World is the top of it. I can't remember its name. Though I do also think that there is a mountain that is taller. I think I remember somewhere in the lore there's a mountain that is taller than the 7,000 Steps mountain. So the one in Skyrim. But I can't remember for certain, so you may as well discount it as not actually the case. Not till I actually have the answer. If I ever have the answer. Well, me being me, instead of cleaning the storm with quests, I climbed around the ice storm and had to force your way up to the mountain, eventually up to the notch pickaxe because I thought it was the way you did it. Yeah. Well, the game, like, they never make it explicitly difficult. in the game to ascend mountains on foot. So the path to the throat of the world is actually really um, there are a few ways to do it, honestly. Dash typo. I mean comma typo. That's okay. You're all good. I understand. Eventually. May take me slightly longer, but I will figure it out. Good point. Just tapping your A button, the Shadow Realm helps. Guess so. Oh, your A button. Yeah, I just read that wrong. Yeah, that also works. Or like wiggling. It's wiggling the cursor upwards. When the Thalmor took over Skyrim, wasn't it like it's not the king's fault, but he is the one who signed the White Gold Concordat? But if he didn't, we would all die or worse. Yeah, it was a. It wasn't a decision made easily. It was one that, like, they had very little choice. The terms were unreasonable, but also they didn't have much of a choice either way, or they didn't have much of a say. It's like, if we don't sign this, then we're losing this war. And if we lose this war, there will be greater suffering. Basically, the terms were like, you have to denounce this god. Like, you have to completely denounce this god. He's not a god, he never existed. Denounce him. Because Talos, like, slaughtered a lot of elves. So you can understand why they asked, like, they demanded this. The decision, but it's a forcible decision. Yeah. Yeah. And even then, it's like I said, in the histories, Talos slaughtered elves. So it's like, why would we? And like, not for too good of a reason. Like, sure, they were linked to the Elf King and stuff like that, but it's like also like Talos managed to win because of racism. And so having him ascend to godhood is like a huge insult to elves. So denouncing him is also a very important thing for elves. And then maybe they would all be exterminated, and it's as if they never existed. Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, and that's pretty bad. That's a pretty bad thing to have. We got about almost 2 minutes. Then I'll probably have to raid out. So I gotta set this shop up. I gotta set this shop to go live. at midnight, so I got some stuff I gotta do. I got some business stuff to do. I gotta be a big business mouse. Then I go to bed. Then I wake up tomorrow morning at 8 and I do this all again, baby. That's a good look. That's a good Dogan. Is there a reason why some guards whisper and say, "Hey, dude, the Dark Brotherhood is cool and stuff"? Yeah, because it's like it's cultivating mystique, and also like the idea that in this world, the Dark Brotherhood are this like grim, but this grim reality. And the fact that maybe in every walk of life you'll meet people who are like, actually that's kind of cool. And maybe that life would, if I joined the Dark Brotherhood, my life would be easier or better. Like they whisper a few words to you. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, because like ultimately, if you lived in a world like Skyrim and you knew about the Dark Brotherhood aren't a secret, but it's also like, well, you also don't know a lot about them either, other than rumors. So you're kind of left to like fill in the blanks yourself. And for some people, that you might fill those blanks in with like this idea that they're actually really cool and that a life amongst them would actually be good and not that they're raging psychopaths, completely devoid of morality, like uh, morality beyond the macabre. I also couldn't ever do the Dark Brotherhood quest because I would have to kill Narfu, who never hurt me or anybody, so I just never did the quests. Yeah, not bad. Like, yeah, that is a sad one, but it's also like that's the grim nature of the Dark Brotherhood. They kill who they are assigned to kill, even if they're a good person. They're not biased. And that's the thing, that one thing I like about that depiction of the Dark Brotherhood is that they are unbiased. But to be unbiased also means that you don't favor good people. You don't favor anyone. Favor your orders and your rules. And to be unbiased, to be completely impartial, is to actually not provide bias or grace towards those who just do the right thing. You can do the right thing and still lose or end up suffering, and that sucks, but it's also one of those things. Which is partially why you hate them, at least in Skyrim. I played a few minutes of Oblivion, so you don't know what they're like. They're fucking worse in Oblivion. They are. Like, you get a much better idea of what the Dark Brotherhood are like in Oblivion because they are just full on 100% psychopaths. But the weird thing about it is they are likable psychopaths. So basically, like, for the most part, you hear them like telling each other stories about like their previous kill and things like that. And it's like, oh fuck, this is like super grim. Like this dude just hunted down a store owner or whatever, or a priest and like cut them down. There's one character who's an orc in Oblivion who is just like, with my missions. I love my missions because basically I just wear full armor and I crush them to death. And it's like, oh fuck, this guy is like has no moral compass at all. He is a like by the books on paper psychopath, but he's funny. Oh, okay, I can see, can enjoy like a Joker of sorts. Yeah, in a sense, they all like take joy in it in different facets. So you meet Armand Mortier, I think. No, that's a target. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a vampire. He's a fully fledged vampire, and he's like, my entire life I've been a vampire. I have been shunned from humanity, and I've been shunned from the above world and the sunlight my entire life because I am a monster to these people. So what I do here with the Dark Brotherhood, it gives cause to my monstrous self and presence. So it gives me purpose. and you actually like can take. Have you played Daggerfall or Morrowind? I've started Morrowind. I've never gotten into it. It's just a little too. I think it's a little too far in the more antique gaming style that I'm not quite as into. But like, you can find reason in the way the Dark Brotherhood and Oblivion act, however macabre it may seem. Um, but they are also like horrible. They're horrible, horrible people. The guy who. So I'll give you like. It's a bit of a spoiler, but basically, you're tasked with cleansing the Dark Brotherhood chapter. So basically, they've gotten too complacent, and they need to refresh uh, the assassin pool. So you're actually sent to kill all the members of the Dark Brotherhood in the guild that you had started in and learned to be an assassin in, and had you'd met these people and talked to these people, and you have to kill them all now. You have to basically purge them all from the Dark Brotherhood. And when you do that, when you go there, they have no idea. So you can talk to them. You can talk to each and every member of them. And they're all like, oh, you got a new mission from the Hand. So the Hand are the higher echelon of the Dark Brotherhood. And no one is higher than the Hand other than the Listener, who is known in the deep lore as the thumb of the Hand, because without a thumb, a hand does not work. A hand does not function. Um, and that's what you play as in Skyrim. You're the next Listener. But in Oblivion, you're sent to purge the entire Dark Brotherhood that you had grown to be a part of and grown attached to. And then you eventually find out that there is a traitor amongst the Dark Brotherhood who is basically using you and the dead drops, which is where you get your assassination targets from, to murder members of the Dark Brotherhood. Oh, it gets darker. But the guy who brought you in. So basically, to join the Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion, you have to kill one innocent person. And you can do this accidentally. And then the moment you do that, you get a notification telling you, presences beyond your understanding have viewed your act. Then the next time you sleep in a bed, you wake up and this man named Lucien Lachance is standing at the foot of your bed and he speaks to you. It is deeply unnerving. And he goes, I like the way you kill. I've got a job. You want a job? And he says it in a creepy, like cryptic way. But he hires you on and brings you into the Dark Brotherhood. This guy tries to get you to figure out who is betraying the Dark Brotherhood. However, he is in hiding because the Hand believe that he has betrayed the Dark Brotherhood. And the fact that he couldn't get to you before you murder the Listener. So the previous Listener, you murder them, you assassinate them. And he couldn't get to you before then. So they basically believe it's a nail in the coffin that he's using you because he brought you into the fold. The Hand then skin him alive upside down. It is so grim. It is so dark, but I also really like that dark storytelling. It's one of those scenarios where if you do it, it's evil, but the further proves people can trust each other, but at the same time they are evil, so they deserve it, but they trusted you and you killed them, so there's no good sides. Yeah, it's really grim and there's no winning in that scenario. But with that said, we're about 3 hours into our stream, so I'm gonna raid out. It was a good stream. Very happy with how it turned out. Good bit of progress. Who we got? We got line art. Raid. Raid time. Get paid to raid. Let's go to line art. Line art's great. Very funny. Let me just check. She's not raiding out. She's eating food. Not doing art. This isn't art. If we don't raid Mouse, I'm actually unfollowing you. Well, guess what? You're about to unfollow. No, seriously, you will. Promise. If you do that, you're losing VIP. And that's not because of me. If you unfollow, you're gonna lose VIP. Just the way it works. All right, so we're gonna raid across to Linart. She's currently eaten, but that's okay. Thank you all so much for joining. I'll see you all tomorrow if you guys are in. I'll be streaming from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. and then onwards. But yeah, watch me do it. I dare you. Not to raid mass, double dog dare you. Go ahead. Well, guess what? You're about to be very disappointed and unfollowing because I'll see you guys next time.